Okay, so really that's me done. I only have a few things I want to say in this final little video. I wanted to keep it separate from the technical things. Excuse me. We've seen a little introduction, the course page, and Lawrence Anthony's software. We've had a couple of videos showing you the tools with AnConc. But do please remember that I've only been very, very quick on all of these things. There are many, many more things that you can do. I do recommend that you watch the Lawrence Anthony's video tutorials as well. With his tutorials, just like my videos, try to do the same things at the same time as him with version 4. Okay? It is very simple. There is much more. You don't necessarily need to know much more, but you can explore. I really, really encourage you very strongly to explore the different settings, parameters, and possibilities. You will find that you have things which don't work as you expected. Always take a step back and think about it. Does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, maybe it's something which you weren't expecting in the corpus. It could be true, but maybe you've got a filter or a setting which you forgot to undo. So clear tools and settings, start again, or even close AnConc, start again, that kind of thing. So it is useful to do all of these things. Explore them. You don't need to use all of the tools. You certainly don't need to use all of the functions. Some of them will be useful for you. If any of you do have a computing experience, you might know the term regular expression. If that means something to you, then you can do that with AnConc in the quick concordance page. If it means nothing to you, forget it. Don't worry about it. Really, there are two ways to get into it. One is by watching the videos and doing it. The other one is just by doing it, play with it. You can't kill AnConc, you can't destroy it. Make sure you've always got your corpus saved, the original version and the cleaned version, in a separate place, but within AnConc, you can't kill it, you can't destroy it, so don't worry about it. Take risks, do things. If it doesn't work, start again. It doesn't matter. Okay, if you manage to somehow get a problem downloading AnConc, or you download it again, it's not a problem at all. We've been through quite a lot of tools here. Don't think you, in fact, please do think that you don't need to do the same thing. Don't try to imitate in your research paper the structure or the order that I presented things here. That will not be a good research paper. It's up to you to do things in the order which is relevant, based perhaps on the suggestions in the RP template, but not based on these videos. These videos were trying to show you a logical way into things, how you might go about it, but don't try to repeat that exactly in your research paper. It won't work. Okay, in particular, the first tool I showed you was the word list tool, which, yes, we do ask you to do, and the keyword list tool as well, but the quick keyword in context is one of the most useful and relevant tools, which I do expect everybody to use. Okay, so it's not just frequencies, it's not just numbers, it's interpreting in context. That's important for the corpus linguistics aspect. It's also very important for the CDA aspect, the critical discourse analysis aspect. You have your corpus and your queries and your interpretations, and these must all align. If you want to have certain questions, then your corpus has to correspond so that you can answer your questions. Or if you start with your corpus before you get the questions, you must have questions which are appropriate for your corpus. So it must all align. The appropriate queries for the appropriate corpus, they have to go together. One thing I need to say is that you should always have a reason for what you do. Very often students have their corpus and they say, oh, this is an interesting word, I looked for it. That's not a good reason just because you happen to find it interesting. Either you begin with a group of words which you establish in advance from a principled source and say, okay, if you're looking, for example, at racism in civil rights movement in the 1960s, look at other people they may have compiled list of words which you can use and then explore those words. So you might have a good reason for choosing certain words in advance, or you might have a very limited group, for example, modal verbs. Well, modal verbs, it's a very small group anyway, and you might just decide to focus on the most frequent modal verbs in English that some other corpus has found. Otherwise, you can start with your corpus and say, okay, what are the words which the corpus suggests are interesting, frequent, useful, etc. It might be individual words, it might be n-grams, groups of words. But you must have a reason for it, a principal category before you start from somewhere else, or a principal group which comes up from your corpus searches. If you have questions, and you will have questions, if you have difficulties, you will have difficulties. That's part of the fun of it. Well, you see with me that going through it, the number of times I have to stop and say, okay, no, not doing it like that, or I've forgotten to do something. It happens all the time. Sometimes you know immediately what the problem is, sometimes you don't. If you have problems which you can't solve, the first thing is don't panic. Try to find the answer for yourself, okay? So yes, do look at the AntConc tutorials, look back at the videos and the course contents, look at the help files on Lawrence Anthony's webpage, go to the Google group to see if anybody else, the AntConc Google group, to see if anybody else has had the same problem. If not, use the course forum. If you have a question which you think might be the same for other people, post your query to the course forum. Okay, somebody else might be able to find a solution, or maybe they've had the same difficulty. It can also be useful to use the course forum to say, okay, I'm working on this topic. Is anybody else working on something similar? Maybe we could work together. You've each got your own corpus. You're not using the same corpus. You're not going to produce the same research paper with the same questions. You've got different corpora. But if you've got somebody else, not a friend, you've never met them before, but somebody you've met online through the course forum, you could each do things. If one of you has a problem, ask the other one, maybe they can find a solution. You can work things out together, two of you, or a small group. Create your own Facebook page for all students on the course forum if you like. That's fine. We could stay on the course forum, but do it offline as well, or outside the course, outside Arch. Then I can't see you. I'm not spying on you at all. Okay, so don't worry about that. But working with somebody else, it's like traveling. When I go to a conference on my own, it's always stressful to get the right train at the right platform when you're in the middle of China, for example, and you speak no Chinese and they don't speak any English. It's very stressful. If there are two of you, it's so much less stressful. It's the same here. Do it together with somebody else. It can be much, much more relaxing, and you can find all kinds of problems and give solutions and make useful suggestions for interesting things that you could be doing. And of course, you can email me as well. The fact that it's distance doesn't mean you're on your own. You're all in this in the same boat together. I'm here as well to help you. That's the whole point. Okay, well, I'm sure that I've stressed you out, because the course always stresses people out. Corpus linguistics always is stressful at the beginning, makes people quite nervous and anxious and even scared, as you'll see some of the words that we have in our personal feedback section, especially if you read, as I suggested, the paper I wrote on that. It's small, not particularly impressive paper, but it's quite a fun paper. So it's called Bolton 24 Pearl, or 24 Bolton Pearl, something like that, on the course homepage. So looking at students' personal feedback from a more academic perspective. But you're not on your own. It will be scary, but you can do it. That's the one thing that I've learned over years of doing a course in corpus linguistics online, is it is possible. There's a small group of students who really gets it, and really well, I would say it changes their lives. I'm not going to be that arrogant, but it changes the way they think about language. There is a small group that does end up having difficulties, but the majority of students, 80% of students, 70–80% of students, by persevering, they get there in the end. Okay, so don't think that you can't do it. Don't block, because other students before have thought they couldn't do it, and if they managed to get over their block, they could do it. They ended up finding it. And you can see that in the personal feedback. The first time I saw this course, I thought, later, afterwards, after trying, etc., look at this type of thing, and you'll see how the students' personal feedback evolved over time. Okay, well, thank you very much. And that's it from me. It's little videos. I'm not sure how helpful they are. I hope they're useful. If you have questions, course forum, the AntConc guides, or email me. Okay, bye-bye.